most helpful today?
Well, I guess I'm kind of thinking through my niche
Uh-huh.
a little bit more. I think I have an idea, but I just want to, I don't know, maybe I just kind of need to talk it out and flesh it out a
Yeah.
little. And then also thinking about, I would like to get in the social media world,
Mm-hmm.
and how to kind of go about that, like how to bring that there. So,
Fun.
yeah, so I think that would.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, lay your niche on me so far.
All right. So, as of right now, so I actually come from more of a generalistic training and background, and so it took me kind of a while to find my niche, just because I can
Mhm.
kind of work well with a lot of different folks. And what I've landed on, or what feels more exciting for me and more in tune with kind of my specialty, my expertise, is working with kind of perinatal mood and anxiety disorders.
Amazing.
Yeah. So my website copy, I feel like speaks to kind of that, overwhelmed kind of pregnancy and postpartum. But
Hmm.
I feel like I'm also wanting to attract the women that maybe don't consider themselves like postpartum, but still have kind of similar struggles,
Hmm.
right? So maybe the moms who are a couple years out, but still have like those itty bitties, are still struggling with prioritizing themselves. And so I feel like my website copy kind of speaks more to like the baby or having the baby, but I feel like the women who are a couple years out, like they've gone through the newborn phase, they've got, maybe they're into toddler phase or preschool phase, but now maybe they're seeing more of the effects in like their relationships, like in the marriage, in their
Hmm.
career, right? Like it's kind of different complexities. And so I feel like I'm just wondering like how to kind of combine it or to articulate it in a way. Sometimes even when I talk to people about it, I kind of ramble on. So I just need like a
Hmm.
concise way of like expressing like my elevator pitch, you know,
Yeah.
expressing that to people.
So I think like you could kind of phrase it like I help women who are going through what feels impossible sometimes with newborns all the way up to toddlers. Like, I mean, it would be better than that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think speaking more to how hard it is, rather than a particular symptom of perinatal mood disorder or something like that. But like I work with new moms who are not having an easy time of it with their babies or toddlers. And then in like your website, you can get into the specifics of what that struggle looks like for them day to day.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm wondering too if some of the toddler moms would have been ideal clients when their kids were babies. Is that
Probably.
okay? Cool.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like maybe some untreated, postpartum anxiety or something like that that really like has festered in some
Yeah. I mean, they
ways.
kind of just powered through, right?
Hmm.
Hoping that it would maybe get better, and it kind of doesn't, right? Because kids need you in different ways, even when they're
Right.
like older. Um,
Yeah. And you can speak to the specifics. So like for postpartum anxiety, for instance, we don't necessarily need to call it postpartum anxiety on the homepage. Like I would have a perinatal mood disorders specialty page where you can go into those,
yeah.
but you can talk about like, checking on your baby 37 times in the night to make sure they're sleeping. Like and then you could say like, or for toddlers who are just so mobile and so active and so ready to bump their heads on everything. Like you follow them around more than your friends follow their toddlers around. Like just noticing kind of the panic and the behaviors that follow or alleviate the panic.
Mhm.
Um, so I would speak to that. Um, the intense difficulty of leaving your kids with other people. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so Yeah, I would just talk through those really specific things to your ideal clients. Like the first time, if you don't have any sort of perinatal mood disorder, the first, second, third time you leave your kid with somebody that you trust, you're like, I hope it goes okay, but it abates over time in a way that it doesn't always for people who are struggling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also want to be able to speak to maybe more of the like working moms too.
Hmm.
And I mean, the fact that having a balance is just not not
Yeah.
really possible. Like something's always gonna like give, right?
Yeah.
And the guilt that comes with feeling like you're having to choose.
Yeah.
So then you kind of lose part of yourself
Hmm.
in that. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe the way I'm thinking about it, website wise, right? So you can kind of speak to all these are good ideas, kind of pinpoint, maybe not necessarily make it too specific to baby, but just kind of generalize it a little bit more. Um, but also like, that like specialty page, maybe, I guess, is that where I would kind of go more into, I don't know what it would be called, but just like motherhood and I don't know what it would be, motherhood and career, or
Hmm.
um, because I would definitely have one for the, depression and anxiety, right? What that would look like. Um, and maybe I guess maybe that's where I'm stuck. Like, how would
I
I
think,
separate that a little bit more?
yeah, I mean, your homepage can say like I work with moms of babies and toddlers trying to manage the impossible task of staying on top of things at work, trying to be a good partner, keeping a house that's not a disaster zone, and being the kind of mom they want to be.
Mhm.
That's going to speak to a broader audience than those who have potential perinatal mood disorder diagnoses. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's what you want. Like if you want it to be um, less acute, maybe. Um, but I mean, like you can be really specific about the working mom piece because there are different layers, not more, just different with working moms versus stay-at-home moms. There are some different struggles and some similar struggles. Um, and particularly for those age groups also. Like being a working mom to my 8 and 11-year-old is a very different, much easier experience than it was when they were like 1 and 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm. Feel like I want it all.
Yeah. And you'll still get people on the outside. You'll still get people outside your very specific niche, the people who are resonating with a lot of what you're saying. So it's not that you're excluding them. You're really calling in your very, very favorites, and you'll get the others too.
Okay. Okay. This is good. I'll think about how to kind of flesh that out a little bit more. In thinking about like my marketing, right?
Mhm.
So right now it's my website. I have directory, Psychology Today. I haven't started, but I'm going to start blogging. I already have some
Mhm.
ideas. And obviously, I've been trying to kind of network, although that one's proven a little bit difficult because I have talk about working mom struggles, right? Like I have very, very like limited and sometimes even like no kind of childcare. So, sometimes toddler does come along with me, but can't
Mhm.
always come along with me to every single networking,
Right, right.
networking event. So that's been a little bit challenging, I would say.
Mhm.
And the other one that I would like to do, and not put off by it, but I'm just not really sure kind of where to start, would be social
Mhm.
media.
Got it. So which social media? You mentioned Instagram, right?
I think Instagram. I think
Yeah.
Instagram feels well, Instagram and LinkedIn, but I think Instagram feels more like me. Like I tend to do better. I'm more of an introvert at heart, although if I need to speak to a crowd, I can.
Hmm.
And that feels like kind of safe, like where I'm speaking to a crowd, but I don't necessarily see them. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Perfect.
that feels a little bit safer for me. And I like that. Like, and that's how I connect with a lot of my friends and family that I probably wouldn't necessarily connect with. And so I like the idea of that, but I'm just not really sure how to start. Like I've had a page with just one picture there for a year and a half.
Hmm.
I haven't done anything with it. I'm not sure if it's my own anxiety about it, um, or if it's just I really kind of just don't know where to start.
Yeah. So what I'd recommend is reels first and foremost. So getting comfortable on video. You have to have your niche really well honed.
Yeah,
And I would have like three different content buckets, like three different things you talk about over and over and over and over. And you would think like, aren't people going to get sick of this? But like, they don't. They really don't, because people are seeing themselves and they're gaining something new from most of what you put out, whether it's educational, whether it's funny. And if you can do a blend of like education and entertainment, like edutainment, then it really helps hook people. It makes people want to follow you. What I see some people doing is focusing more on building up a large following, um, which isn't necessary to have success in private practice through Instagram. So like, even if you end up with like 1,000 followers, you can still have lots of clients. You don't need 100,000 followers for that.
yeah, yeah,
So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself with it. I think the hardest thing about social media to prepare yourself for is at some point you will put something out there that people don't like, and they will be really shitty about it. And so to just be able to hold on to yourself, to know like when that first one happens, that you made it, you did it.
yeah.
Look at you getting visibility. Um, and you know, when and if that happens, you just come to me and I will pep talk you. It's fine. But there's a lot of consistency necessary. And as your audience grows, there's going to be a lot more time and energy that you're going to need to invest in Instagram in order to maintain and continue to build. Um, you do not need to have like long DM conversations with people. Like, don't do that. This is not therapy. This is Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and make sure that your information is all really clear in your bio of like, this is not therapy. Um, in the party, Kelly walks us through what helped her grow her Instagram really
Mhm.
solidly.
Mhm.
And she gets lots of clients and she helps people with that. So she's a really good resource. And that's in both the social media portion of the party and in the trainings. We put it in both because it's really good.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that one again.
Yeah. But you'll need to do video. That's something everybody needs to get used to if you want to have Instagram. You can't just post cute quotes and things like that. Like, it's not gonna work.
I've actually been like practicing that.
Good.
So obviously deleting the right way, but just like I have to get used to like because it's awkward, right? Like
Yeah, it really is.
to get used to that. So I've been kind of practicing that. But I mean, I feel like I'm ready for it, and I think that could be a really good strategy for me.
Mhm.
Just knowing my personality and stuff, I feel like that could be really good.
Yeah. And like, really, you just vet everything that you would post. Like, would my ideal client giggle at this or learn from this or feel validated through this? Because we really want to normalize for people that it's like they're not the only ones, they're not broken. Like, babies and toddlers are brutal.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like there's so much that you can convey to them that will help them feel seen and known, even if they never come to see you. And do not hesitate in every single um, caption to say, like, if you're in my state and you're looking for therapy, hit the, hit the link in my bio or set up an automatic replier and say, like, DM me the word therapy, and you'll get a link. Like, be really clear. You'll get a link. I'm not chatting with you
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
That's helpful.
But it's planning it out ahead of time. Like, that's like knowing what you're going to do, not just like on a whim. I think that's how a lot of therapists end up using social media, is like, oh, this is funny, I'll repost it. Or I made this, I have something to say, but they don't work an actual strategy. They don't put forethought into it. And that's
Yeah.
what's
Just kind of
necessary to
having like a
grow.
calendar of on these days, this is what I'll post. And
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
good, helpful advice. I think we still have some time. I
Hmm.
guess my other thing in thinking about like marketing and like I said, networking's been challenging, although in January should be better.
Hmm.
Um, More childcare, reliable childcare. But in thinking about like who to reach out to,
Yeah.
right? So right now on my list is, obviously other like colleagues or people in practice, psychiatrist. I am reaching out, having a little difficulty, but reaching out to OB/GYN,
Hmm.
um, lactation consultant.
Hmm.
Um, Lindsay, I recommended pelvic floor therapist.
Hmm.
And I had the idea the other day about like mom groups. Um,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if there's anything else maybe that I may be missing or that maybe thinking outside the box that could be a really
Yeah.
good person or, kind of group to network with.
Yeah. I mean, it's inside the box, but like postpartum doulas.
Okay.
Um,
Uh,
because they're seeing a lot.
yeah.
Night nurses.
Night nurses. Okay. I didn't think about them.
But I think I love the lactation consultant. Like that's how, like, well, and midwives. Midwives and my lactation consultant were how I found a perinatal mood disorder therapist when I needed one. Um, well, oh, we did cranial sacral therapy with my daughter when she was an infant because she had latch issues. This was in Seattle. We go a little woo. Um, and and like it was so it was like I'd been given the card from my midwife. The lactation consultant had recommended this cranial sacral therapist, and the cranial sacral therapist was like, "You need help, girl." Like she was very much like, "I'm much less concerned about your baby than I am about you."
Okay.
And it was her saying that that actually got me to make the call. So anybody who like specializes in infants and toddlers, um, so you could also do talks for parents at daycares. I know that
Mhm.
I don't know if that feels good to you or if that's too much of an audience, but if it's like you're teaching something
But they
very,
tend to be smaller groups.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I can do talks to parents, not like a grand round. So,
right, there we go. Yeah. So offering talks at daycares. And I might play off some things that are really like popular right now. Like gentle parenting is something everybody has heard of probably in like the millennial and younger generations and some of my Gen Xers. But I wonder about like if you did a talk called something like gentle parenting with a backbone, because gentle parenting inherently has a backbone, but people don't expect that, right? Like from the name. If gentle parenting is your thing, I don't know. But that could be like a gateway in. The moms groups you mentioned, that's a really great idea. We had in Seattle, we had like very organized moms groups where like by zip code and the month that you gave birth to your baby, you were put into a group together. And so like we had both our birthing group that we went through all our prenatal stuff, and then we had this other group of people who had babies born the same month in our same zip code. And both of those would have been great places to learn more. Um, and sometimes they're looking for speakers. So,
yeah, well, I'm here in the Houston area, so there's definitely a lot of like mom
mhm.
groups. Here, it's much more specialized to kind of because it's so big, like to like where you're at.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds like there. I mean, there's a lot of people I can I
So
can
many
reach
with
out to.
yeah,
So,
with your niche, I feel like your niche has the most people to reach out to, honestly, which is beautiful. It's because there's a huge team of people here to help and support this process, right?
yeah.
And that's wonderful. And it can be overwhelming. So I would also take your time with it, right? Like, especially without childcare yourself right now, all this can wait until January. And maybe spend like the next month or so just reaching back out to people that you'd already met with and just be like, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I hope that like you're gonna get some rest this holiday season or whatever. Just like letting them know that they're on your mind situation.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion to kind of still reach out. Yeah, I plan on using this time much worth like blogging and trying to get some of that set up so
Hmm.
that I can kind of full speed, go full speed ahead in
Yeah,
January with
absolutely.
meeting up with people, which is what I like when I network. Like I like that.
Hmm.
Um, and so okay, well this is good. This is helpful. This has been really helpful.
Good, good. Yeah. And let us know in group or in the Facebook group any
Yeah.
support you need.
All right, thank you. Well, I may, once I kind of think a little bit more, probably I think I have my about page pretty good and my specialty page for the most part, I think is pretty good.
Good.
I am noticing that like people go to like my website from Psych Today and then they're not clicking. So I don't know if it's my website or if it's, I
Mhm.
don't know, something.
Okay.
Yeah, something's not. Um, so I'm not sure. I'm imagining it's probably my website. So I may have to reach out to the group to get some feedback on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Throw it up there. That'd be really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Take good care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.